In this lecture, we will discuss the notion of vector spaces. So, up till now, we have covered, we have seen what a group, a ring, and a field what are. So, now we'll proceed and we'll see what vector spaces are. Okay. So, vector space is essentially again a non-empty subset, a non-empty set, and it is associated with a field. Okay. So the definition of the vector space is always in conjunction with a field. Okay. So vector space V over a field F, that is how we say, we always associate a vector space with a field. It is a set of elements which we call as vectors. Okay. So this V is a set of elements and these elements are termed as vectors. Okay. A set of vectors, that is what we say, that satisfy the following axioms or the following properties. These properties are basically based on two operations. One is an operation that is performed within the vectors. Okay. And there is another operation which is performed within the element from the set V and element from the field. So this operation is called scalar multiplication. So the first one, where the operation is between the elements in the set V, it is known as vector addition, and the second operation that we are concerned with is the operation between an element in the field and the element in the set V, which we call as the scalar multiplication. Okay. So the elements that come from the field for this operation are considered as the scalars associated with the vectors that come from the set V. Okay. So the properties that we are going to see are with respect to this vector addition and scalar multiplication. So the first set of properties is with respect to vector addition. So with respect to vector addition, you have closure in the set V. So you take any pair of elements or any pair of vectors from V, their addition will always result in a vector back in the set V. So that is closure. That vector addition is commutative. So if you take any pair of elements from V, x and y, x plus y will always be equal to y plus x. The vector addition also satisfies associative properties. So x added to y plus z is same as x plus y added to z, where x, y, z are vectors from V. Next, there is a unique vector known as the zero vector in the set V, such that you take any vector x from V and add it to the zero vector, you will get back the vector x as a result of this vector addition. So this zero vector is known as the additive identity of the set V. Okay. Lastly, for every vector x that you take in the set V, there is a corresponding vector, let us represent it as minus x, in the same set V, so as that the addition of these two vectors x and minus x will always result in the zero vector, which is the unique additive identity in the set V. This is known as the additive inverse. So minus x is the additive inverse of x, and similarly x is the additive inverse of minus x, and the additive inverse are unique for a given element in the set V. Okay. So we have closure, we have commutative, we have associative properties, then we have existence of a unique additive identity, and we have existence of a unique additive inverse for each element in the set V. So these properties correspond to vector addition. The next operation with respect to which we will see the properties or the axioms that the vector space should satisfy, that a set should satisfy to qualify or to be called as a vector space, is the scalar multiplication. Okay, and this is where the interaction between the elements from the field and the elements from the set V are seen. So for any element that you take in the field and any element that you take from, or any vector that you take from V, the product or the scalar multiplication. So alpha is a scalar taken from the field and x is a vector taken from V. So alpha multiplied with x will always give you a vector back in the set V. So this is the closure property. So closure is satisfied under scalar multiplication. Okay. For any pair of scalars taken from the field and a vector that you take from V, the property that it satisfies is, you take the, so suppose you have two scalars alpha and beta, and suppose you perform a scalar multiplication of beta with x, so you get a vector beta x, and then you scale this up by the scalar multiplication with alpha. This is same as having a scalar multiplication of x with the scalar alpha beta. Okay, so alpha beta is nothing but the product of alpha and beta. The third property with respect to scalar multiplication is that for every vector x in V, there is a identity element in the field, so that the scalar identity element that I have represented using 1 here from the field, when multiplied with the vector, it gives you back the same vector. So essentially there is no scaling, there is neither upscaling or downscaling, nothing happens to the vector. The same vector comes out if you take the identity element 1 from the field. Okay, so these are the three properties that one needs to satisfy as far as the scalar multiplication is concerned. And since we are talking of two operations, so we look into a third set of properties which need to be satisfied, and this kind of depicts or is based on the interaction of both the vector addition and the scalar multiplication being done together. And this is the distributive property. Okay, so suppose you take a scalar from the field and you take two vectors from the vector space, then if you perform a scalar addition on the summation or on the vector addition of the two vectors x and y, it is same as performing the vector addition on the scaled versions of x and y by the factor alpha that we had chosen. So this is known as distributive with respect to vectors. Okay, distributing the scalar multiplication over the vector addition. Similarly, let's say that you pick up two scalars from the field and you have a vector from V. So the scaling of a vector x by a factor which is because of the addition of the two scalars alpha and beta is same as performing a vector addition on the individual scaled versions of x, where the scaling is, one scaling is with respect to alpha and the other scaling is with respect to beta. This is distributive with respect to the scalars. Okay, so the two distributive properties that one has to satisfy is distributive with respect to the vectors, the second is distributive with respect to the scalars that you have. And please note that this is true for all the elements in the field and the elements in the set V that you have. If all these properties, the properties for vector addition, the properties under scalar multiplication and the distributive properties, all these three sets of properties, if it is satisfied by a set V under the field F, then the V is said to be a vector space under the field F. Okay, so to understand this, what are the examples that we can think of? The first example is a set of rational numbers over the field of rationals. Okay, so this set of rational numbers over the field of rationals, is it a vector space or not? Okay, so the field here is the rational number and the set V here is a set of rational numbers. You take any pair of rational numbers, the addition of it gives you back a rational number. So the vector addition property satisfies closure. Similarly, you can verify that it satisfies commutative and associative properties. The additive identity that you have here is the 0 element, which is 0, and the inverse of a rational number is basically the negative of the rational number itself, and that is unique to every rational number. Okay, so all the properties for vector additions are satisfied. What about scalar multiplication? You take an element from the set of rational numbers that you had qualified as a field and multiply it with the rational number that you qualified as a set of set V. The product of two rational numbers is always going to be a rational number that comes to lie in the set V. Okay. Similarly, if you take the element 1 from the field, which is from the field, and multiply it to the rational numbers q, then you get back the same rational number which belongs to the set V. Okay, so that is also satisfied. And similarly, you can see the scaling products as well. So you take any two rational numbers from the field and you multiply them and multiply it with a vector in that V, which is here V is equal to Q, you get back a rational number, and that rational number is also equal to the individual or the successive scaling that you would do. Okay, so the scalar multiplications are satisfied. Similarly, you can verify the distributive equalities are also satisfied. Okay, so the set of rational numbers when the field is considered to be rational is or definitely qualifies to be a vector space. Similarly, a set of real numbers over the field of reals, or a set of complex numbers over a field of reals, or a set of complex numbers over a field of complex numbers is also going to be a vector space. Please verify if a set of real numbers over the field of rationals qualifies to be a vector space or not. Okay, so all the four examples that we just saw are vector spaces with respect to their respective field that is associated, that has been given to them. Please verify whether the fifth example here is going to be a vector space or not. Now let's look into another example where the set V is a collection of elements where the element has n tuples and all tuples are real as shown here. Okay, so we say that this V is denoted by a set, this double scripted R raised to the power n. So double scripted R raised to the power n indicates that the elements that are there in the set has n tuples where all the tuples are real. That is what it indicates. Okay, so x1 till xn are the tuples of the element and each of them is going to be real. X1 till xn, all of them are real. The field that we are considering is also real. Okay, so first we can verify vector addition. So if x and y are two vectors in something that we will call henceforth as Rn. So if x and y are two vectors in Rn, where x is denoted as x1 till xn and y has components y1 till yn, then x plus y, if we define it, so the vector addition has to define. So we define the vector addition x plus y to be the sum of individual tuples so that the new vector is relative. So here you see x plus y is nothing but x1 plus y1, x2 plus y2 till xn plus yn. This is the usual vector addition that we perform. Similarly, scalar multiplication alpha x is nothing but individual scaling up of the tuples. So this is again familiar operation that we have performed with vectors. Okay, where alpha is coming from the field R. The first property is whether x plus y belongs to Rn or not. So yes, it belongs. The next is whether it is commutative or not. So we can verify here. So I worked it out for you, and it does belong. It does satisfies the commutative property. You can also similarly verify that it satisfies the associative property. The next is existence of a unique additive identity. So here the additive identity is the zero vector, and if you add the zero vector to any other vector, the same vector comes back. Okay, so now you have to prove that it's a unique. So what is normally done in such cases of proving that something is unique or not and make assumption that suppose the element that is supposed to be proved unique is not actually unique, but there is some other copy also involved, and then you proceed with the axiom and use the results to show that your assumption is being contradicted. So what has been done here is that suppose E is the identity element, and suppose there is another identity element E bar such that both of them are not equal, thus showing that the assumption is that the unique identity element is, I mean, not true. Okay, that is what the assumption is. So under this assumption, what you have is x plus E bar is same as E bar plus x, which is giving you x, because E bar is assumed to be another additive identity. So with this, what we have is x plus E bar has to be equal to x plus E, which implies that E has to be equal to E bar from the addition itself by the definition of the vector addition that we had. And given this, it is contradicting our assumption that E is not equal to E bar, which means E has to be a unique additive identity. Okay. Similarly, one can prove that in this case, the way the addition operation is defined, the additive inverse that we have for element is just the negative of the vector itself. Okay, and that is going to be unique. So we have a unique additive identity. Okay, so again, one can assume that the additive identity is not unique, and then you can go ahead and show that, well, the additive identity turns out to be unique, and hence the contradiction is arising, which makes our assumption to be incorrect. Okay. Okay, and I think I have not written the associative property, so that is, oh sorry, that is also basically included in the properties as I had mentioned previously. Okay, so you have to show associativity. So associativity can also be shown. I have forgotten this in the notes, so please do add it. The next three properties about scalar multiplication. One is closure, so alpha in the field and x from Rn. We have to show alpha x also belongs to Rn because alpha is real and x1 till xn are real, so alpha into x1 will also be real by the property of multiplications of real numbers, and hence alpha x belongs to Rn. Similarly, one can also show that alpha times beta x is same as alpha beta times x, and 1 x is going to be equal to x, where 1 is from the field. This satisfies the scalar multiplications. And next, we are just remaining with the two distributive laws, where we have to show that alpha plus beta multiplied with x is nothing but alpha x plus beta x. So this is distributive over scalar. And then you have alpha multiplied with x plus y, nothing but equal to alpha x plus alpha y, which is distributive over the vectors. So this is as shown here. So since all the properties are being satisfied, the set Rn over the field R qualifies to be a vector space. Okay, so please do think of some other examples for as far as the vector spaces are concerned. In the next lecture, we will see some more examples of vector space. So we'll stop here. Thank you.